Hey there everybody, welcome back. Let's get right into it. The Samsung Galaxy 8 Plus was released in April of 2017. This is the device I personally bought in 2017, many years before starting this YouTube channel, and I regularly use it as a backup phone when traveling, and since you can find this used for less than $100, I think it could be a good fit for somebody looking for a budget phone in 2025. Let's kick it off with the design. This was arguably Samsung's most significant redesign ever. I still remember pulling this thing out of the box and just being amazed at how beautiful the design was. To this day, I consider it to be one of the best looking phones of all time. Just look at it compared to the Galaxy S7 and S7 Edge. It clearly took some inspiration from both, but it delivered it in a package that was much more refined and polished. You get a beautiful glass back with a nice curved edge of aluminum frame that makes it feel comfortable to hold without a case. This thing is still a grease magnet, however, so I would still recommend the case because it gets really slippery. Also, this feels very slim compared to my S24 Ultra. It feels like a piece of art. I absolutely love the design of this phone. I really don't like the fingerprint sensor, however, at least the placement of it. It's annoying to reach for even after getting used to it, and I am constantly smudging up my camera. Now, let's look at the front. This screen is still incredible. We will talk about this later in the video, but the curved glass is more of a form over function situation. Also, keep in mind that I dropped this about 5 years ago, and that's why the screen is a little messed up near the bottom. It looks amazing, and when I bought this device in 2017, it felt like I was holding something futuristic in my hands. But even with this incredible design, there are a couple drawbacks. First is trying to find a screen protector that will work. All of mine would never stay installed and I would lose touch capabilities at the edges. After going through a ton of different options and spending a lot of money, I just decided to use it without a screen protector. And honestly, it's held up very well over the years, even though I haven't been using this daily since 2017. Also, you do get weird viewing angles, and depending on the content you are watching, the image can kind of distort as it is displayed near the edges. And a positive thing is that even though it might be the slim form factor, I haven't had any issues with the accidental touches like I mentioned in my Pixel 6 Pro review from last week. With all that said, wow, does this phone look amazing, especially for a device released in 2017. Now, the camera. This legitimately shocked me. Compared to the S24 Ultra's camera, the Galaxy S8 Plus is way too close in quality. I didn't realize this until I was editing this video looking at the photos you're about to see on your screen. Here's a quick spec comparison between the two if you'd like to pause here. Not only does this test show you really don't need to update your phone as often as companies want you to, but maybe Samsung needs to update the S24 Ultra's camera like now. But you tell me down below. Here are the photos I took with the Galaxy S8 Plus and S24 Ultra while I was at Disney with my wife last weekend. .30 with the S8 Plus. Gonna zoom in on that box there. This is 8x zoom. Zooming back to 1. And this has no wide angle. Filming 4K 30 with the S24 Ultra. Three times, 5 times, 10 times, 20 times, digital zoom, back to 1, 0.6 wide angle, back to 1. And the display is just absolutely amazing. You're getting a Samsung Super AMOLED display technology with a 6.2-inch screen with an 84% screen-to-body ratio, a resolution of 1440 by 2960 pixels, and a 529 pixel per inch density. Samsung also gives you a lot of different options, allowing you to make the screen more or less saturated and colorful based on your preference. I personally love the overly saturated style of the older Samsung phones, but hey, that's just me. Brightness is also pretty good. I couldn't find an official peak nits value, but from the tests I found online, I have seen peak nits to be around 800 and 1000 nits. For the age and the price of this phone, that's better than I expected. One huge downside, however, is that the display is only 60 Hz. This is very noticeable, especially since now in 2025, most if not all flagship devices are 120 Hz panels. Is it a total deal breaker? Not for the price in my opinion, but it does look worse than a 120 Hz panel, obviously. What if this is a backup phone you're going to use for international travel? Not a big deal in my opinion. Bottom line, this screen was way ahead of its time. It's bright, vibrant, colorful, and is truly a pleasure to watch content on for long periods of time, even in 2025. I only wish I had either a 90 Hz or 120 Hz panel, but for 2017 that wasn't the industry standard, so it's totally understandable. The biggest downside of this phone is the software experience. Now this has nothing to do with the overall performance, but it's really because you're only getting up to Android 9 and One UI version 1.0. At least that's the case on my device. That's also assuming you don't install a custom ROM. This is no longer supported by Samsung. Is this an absolute end of the world situation? It's complicated. If you were to daily this phone or even use it as a backup, I would not be connecting to public Wi-Fi that I didn't trust, and I would not be storing vital information locally on my phone. But with that said, if you're careful with the things that you download, the websites you visit, the Wi-Fi you're connected to, and the things you have saved on the local device, I still think this could potentially be a decent backup phone. Security exploits are everywhere, but there are tons of people who continue to use unsupported devices without any security emergencies. As for the overall software experience, yeah, it's dated being Android 9, but it's still relatively smooth and quick, and I have no problem accessing the apps I use daily. If security is your number one priority, and I know it is for many of my viewers, yeah, stick with a phone that still gets regular security updates. Now, Lineage OS is also an option, however, I've not personally tried it yet. I plan on doing a video on this and Graphene OS in the future, so subscribe for more. The performance, it's below average. If you just need to make phone calls, send text messages, watch YouTube, listen to music, and things like that, you're going to be completely fine. All of this is doable with zero issues. Do you want to game? It's a hit or miss. Most mobile games are still going to run fine, but you're not going to have the best performance. Want to play things like Xbox Game Pass? This phone can't handle it. It's probably a combination of CPU and GPU and Wi-Fi capabilities, but I tried multiple lower end games and each was choppy and frustrating to play. What about emulation? It's not much better. I tested this with PS2 ROMs and it ran horribly. It's somewhat playable, but I wouldn't really recommend it. What if you want to use this to play even lower end games like Game Boy Advance? This works perfect. So, do you just need a decently quick phone that can play mobile games and emulate lower end platforms like Game Boy Advance? Yeah, this could still be an option for you. Other than gaming, the overall performance is just fine. It's laggy here and there, but nothing unexpected from a device from 2017. I have no issues using this as a backup phone for temporary periods of time, but I wouldn't want to use this as my primary device if performance was a priority for me. Battery life is also not too great, but honestly better than I expected for the age. I'm getting around 3 to 5 hours of average screen on time, doing things like taking phone calls, responding to messages, taking photos and a couple videos here and there, watching YouTube, listening to music, and light gaming, all while having my resolution at max resolution, adaptive brightness on, and always on display off. Be prepared to have a charger with you if this is your backup device, but especially if it's your primary device. Also, keep in mind that it takes 2 hours to charge from 0 to 100%. So, the final verdict, should you buy this phone in 2025? For 99.99% of you, most definitely no, at least if you're considering this for a primary device. Do you need a super cheap backup phone that you wouldn't care if it broke or was stolen? This could be what you're looking for. It has a beautiful design, incredible screen, even in 2025, quick enough performance, livable battery life, and many times you can find it under $100 on used websites. Whatever you decide, I plan on keeping mine forever. It just looks so freaking good, even in 2025. Give this video a like and subscribe for more if you like what I do, and I will see all of you next time.